Hey guys, welcome back to davidsrandr. In today's video, I'm going to be working on this old Clinton engine. Going to be bringing it back and seeing what we can do to get it running. I did check this thing out a little bit. The tank is completely clean, which is a big bonus. These things do rust out and dent pretty quick, so yeah, the tank's all clean, nice and clean inside. Carburetor isn't leaking, but we have no sparks, so we're going to be diving into that and seeing what's wrong. So let's get into it. This appears to be, this is a VS-700. This is a VS-700 NON engine, and there's something very unique about it. One of them is it's got, with the Clinton badges, they have a serial number and a class, a model number, and then a horsepower number, a badge. And there's no horsepower rating on this thing. No number stamped for the horsepower. I don't know how many horses this thing is. I mean, if I looked it up, I could probably figure it out, but I'm gonna guess this thing's probably 3 horsepower. It was originally kind of like a sea green, almost like a blue color. So it looks like maybe it was blue and it faded to green. Love these old engines. This one still has all the good badging on it. I don't know if you can read that with that angle, but this says 4-cycle precision built all-purpose Clinton air-cooled engine, Clinton Machine Company, Makita, Iowa. And it's going to say the same thing on this top one. And there was also one on this side of the tank, but it's kind of gone. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a bluish green color, like I said before. Very unique color. I love it. I like these old engines. A lot of character. Let's take the screws off to hold this tank in. If we go to undo this one, the whole tank's going to really slide around. And I haven't got loose enough yet, but I love the style of these old strap-on tanks. That's going to be loosening. This is just a brass fitting. It's already loose. This is going to probably spread gas everywhere. No, it doesn't. Huh. Wonder if there's any gas even in it. There's some gas in it. I don't know if the petcock's open enough. Probably isn't. But it's clean in there. This can just kind of slide out now. There we go. It's loose, but this is a Carburetor. So, alright, we need to get to our points condenser. To do that, you gotta pop this bolt off. Alright. I kind of showed it who's boss, and I had some choice words with it, but finally, at last, we got the flywheel nut loose, and we can take off the flywheel. Alright, if you're going to do this trick with a hammer, you want to be very careful that you don't damage threads. We got the flywheel loose now, and we're going to take it off. You see, that trick works pretty darn good, actually. your flywheel off to reveal your coil and points. Points are going to be underneath this cover. One thing you cannot lose is this key. It's the shear key. And I don't know if the coil's bad or what. It appears to be good. I'm going to clean the points up and re-gap them. The condenser also looks good. It just looks like these points are probably really dirty. There's a lot of bugging in there. We are going to first take this cover off. I'll do it right now. So, see if our cover comes off. There we go. So what we're going to do is, or what you should do, is take a little piece of sandpaper, you fold it in half, and you can't see that on camera too well because you're a long ways away, but get in between these contacts with your sandpaper. Make sure it's on the part that's closed, so there's pressure there. Just go to town and sand away any and all corrosion. I'm going to clean all these contacts up and get back to you guys again. Alright, so I cleaned those contacts up pretty good. One thing I could do, which I don't have the right tool, is gap the points. Hopefully it's just, you know, our contacts. These points could have been replaced sometime recently. This is not fun. Alright. Honestly, it should be tight now. Tight enough. Time to start this engine. I don't see any spark. Nothing. Alrighty guys, it's quite a few days, in fact a couple weeks later, and we ended up having to go through this system all over again and sand down a ton of crap and clean a bunch of stuff under the flywheel here. The points were not clean enough, so they had to be really cleaned well with a lot of sandpaper. They were really corroded, and because I did that, I had to re-gap them. I had to clean all the contact points on the coil and the coil itself because it was covered in mud and rust. It wasn't picking up very good with the magnets, so I had to clean that. I cleaned the magnets that are in the flywheel. I took them out of the flywheel. There's little screws here. 1, 2, 3. And you can just pop that off and clean it. So I took the magnet out and I cleaned the magnet up really good on the wire wheel. And took my grinder to it, my bristle brush on my grinder. Did the same with the inside of the flywheel. Cleaned it all up. Cleaned all the gunk out of the compartment for the points and everything. Cleaned up all the connections, and she sparks. And she coughed a few times and sputtered a lot, sputtered to life. Whenever I was testing for spark. So that's as far as I've gotten. So it does spark and it did pop off. But now I gotta go to the carburetor and see if we can get this thing to run. So that's where we're at now, and that's where we're gonna start. A few things that I didn't mention before we get started. I cleaned out all the, there's a bunch of muddy gunk and dust in here that was keeping this cooling system from being effective. I cleaned that up. There was a thick, and I mean thick, sharp, high ridges of carbon buildup inside this engine. Most I've ever seen probably. So I had to take the head off, and I cleaned the head and the top of the piston, the valves, with of course the top dead center. Took my wire, wheel to it, whizzed it all up, all that carbon off there. It was really hard carbon. It didn't come off easy, actually. Even with the wire wheel. I had to make a new head gasket. So I did that. I don't know if you can see it or not. But we did all that. So all we really got to do now is just clean this carburetor up, get the fuel tank cleaned up. And I did it off camera because of the electrical system. This didn't take a ton of time. The electrical system took way too long, and I had to do a little bit of research on it before I did stuff. So I didn't record that, but that's just point stuff. You guys have seen that probably. You guys have seen that before on my channel. It's not nothing new. But the thing that's new is working with the carburetors that are different and the engine itself. So I've talked too much already. Let's get to taking some of these bolts off and getting this carburetor out so we can clean it. This engine is actually in pretty dang good shape. You guys can't see it from that side, but the badge plate is in mint condition over here. I'll probably show it to y'all before I finish if I remember. But the badge plate's in amazing shape. There's still good paint on it, actually. I mean, it looks really rusty because it sat outside for a long time, but get these linkages off. The air cleaner is the only thing that's really missing on this engine. This is supposed to be your speed control lever. I don't know what it really does because there's no linkage attachments for it. But then this is supposed to be something else that went over here, but there's no thing. But we're gonna take this over to the bench and clean her up, throw her back in the engine, take a look at the tank, make sure the tank's okay, and then we're gonna see if this thing will pop off for us. We got the carb here on the bench, and we're ready to tear it down. I don't know. I haven't looked inside this thing. I don't know what to expect, but hopefully it's not bad. Let's get the jets out. We got one. Jets look like they're in shape. Just your good old brass one. It's not really a jet. It's a needle for the jet. Both these are. Wow. There's even little model numbers on it. So we got the jet. But let's see if we can get this off the bowl. And then we'll go on from there. There's a little gasket on there. This thing was sealed down good, I'll tell you that for sure. Oh, dude, that's nasty. Yuck. Okay. Proof's in the pudding right there. See that? There's chunks of it all over. That's the inside of your carburetor bowl right there. That's nasty. That's a lot of deposits. Alright, well, get the majority of it out by hand. That's nasty. I don't know how that even happens. Let's start trying to get this float out. I know it looks crazy, but this piece of wire might fit in there just about perfect. I think it will. Let's see if we can get that to come on out. If I get a good whack on that, it'll come on out. Let's see. Alright, back with the hammer. Get her in that hole. It's coming out. Alright, let's pull this pin out. There we go. Got the pin out. Pin's bent, that's why it wouldn't come out. And who knows, I've compromised part of the carburetor now, but she should still run. but I compromised part of it. There was no way getting around this. It was corroded. The pin is corroded into place. But right there, I broke off a little part of that ear. It'll still go in there and ride just fine. It's difficult. It's not easy. This had to come out. That's nasty and it's really corroded. You can tell this thing's pitting. I'm just going to get most of this crap off because I don't want it flaking off of my fuel and making a big mess everywhere. I wonder how it got this nasty. Probably because they ran some fuel with ethanol in it. Which, I mean, I understand it's hard to get fuel without ethanol, but it's better to run it without it because that's ethanol will rust things out and corrode stuff. Man, that thing is really pitted. And it's probably because the water from the ethanol's got in here and got this all nasty, but that's a clean jet. You can put that back in, along with the spring. We have another jet here. This isn't even a jet, this is just a needle, and that's clean, so we'll put that back in the way it is, because it's clean. A little bit ticked off still about half that being broke, but in theory it should still work, because of where it's at and what's going on with it. Let's reinstall the float, even the needle's clean. Reinstall all of this. Let's tap this in carefully. That should work. Really still can't go anywhere. It's still in its groove. I mean, yeah, you can bounce up a little bit, but not a lot. Should still work. Even with it down, it's hooked up against there. So that's good. That float should work fine. Even though part of it's kind of mangled, she should still work fine. Doesn't matter which way I put the bowl on. I love how it says Made in USA and it's stamped proudly on the bowl. So you don't want that bowl to leak. So that bowl shouldn't leak. Everything's back together. You hear the float working. It's magic. Some everything else. It's all good. Alright, let's put her back on. Put this sucker on. Get the gas tank and put that on. Hook some fuel up to it. See what happens. Let's put the tank on, fire this thing up, see what we can do with it. Alright, got the tank and stuff. Let's put her together. I'm not going to put the screen back on it. I'm going against the screen. Here's the screen, there we go, underneath there. I'm going to choose against it. So I've already got the flywheel on. Now I don't want to take it back off again. Well, I mean the flywheel cup. Alright, so after a long, hard battle, trying to get that gas tank on, I won, but we have a little tiny pinhole leak. I don't think there's a hole, I see there's a little leakage going on around the, where the fuel valve threads in the bottom of the tank. I think it needs some Teflon, but she's dripping a little bit of gas, and you guys might be able to see that. So she might smoke because there's some gas dripping on the exhaust, but otherwise she should do fine. So let's get this thing going. Let's confirm that we have spark. I'm really not so sure what's going on. See, she's dry right now. Let's see. She's got spark. Even this one over here, I think. This one should also be sparking. Let's see if she sparks now. See if it's really that fouled out. Yeah, that one's fouled. It's fouled out big time. That 320. See if it'll pick up on that fuel or not. And she's starting to sputter and sputter to life. Well, she started for us. Now I just gotta get her to keep going. Keep pumping some gas into her and try to tune on her while she's running. She hit one time that time. Let's see if she'll hit multiple times on this pull. Well, for some reason she ain't pulling fuel, so we'll have to see what's going on there. But she does run. And all that smoke you see going, that's just because there's fuel dripping on the exhaust and she keeps smoking, as you can see there. So let's see if we can get her to keep running longer. Well, found the problem with it, and it wasn't getting fuel, as you guys could tell. Only ran off the bottle. My line down here, my line down there was clogged. Steel line was clogged, and I had to shove a wire through it to get it to clear out. I know it's getting fuel now because of the way that it's been acting. I think it was fouled again. Let's have it on mostly choke. Popped off that time. Takes a while to tune it. Now that she popped off once, she'll pop off again. You know. We put some wheels and a handle on her, and I got her to tone down a little bit. I have her up a little bit higher. I'll turn her down. Anyway, as you can tell, she runs pretty good at idle. You can hear her going, bump, 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 you know. She purrs pretty good at idle. She cuts pretty good too. I cut with it a little bit. The yard's pretty dead, so there's not a lot to cut, but when I did cut, she cut. So when I tried to cut, she cut. Well, unfortunately, it started raining again, so this kind of got cut short. But as you did hear, she runs well. Got her to tune in. She runs high and low, but I think she really needs an air filter. But I don't know where I'm gonna get something like that. But she does run well. She runs on high and low. For the most part, I think that she's found that plug out again a little bit, but that might be a thing where I need to change the oil or the rings or something. But yep, I got her toned in, got her running good. She does cut. I tried her right before it started raining again, before I started filming. But hope you enjoyed this revival of this 52 Clinton VS-700. Pretty sweet engine. So yep. Hope you all enjoyed it. I think it's pretty sweet. I might see this again once the weather's nice. Might demonstrate it. But yep, this is David signing out. Hope you enjoy it. Peace.